Hello and welcome to class. We are starting today at the end of the mat, feet hip distance apart. As you exhale, take the head over to one side, stretching down the side of the neck. Keep those shoulders down and back and nice and relaxed behind the backs of the knees. Coming to the center, exhale, take the head over to the opposite side. Good, and coming back to the center. As you exhale now, start to take your roll down stretch, rolling down one vertebrae at a time, the eyes looking in between the legs. And you can bend through the knees here to help you as well. Good, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel that nice stretch down the back of the body. We're going to grab onto the elbows now, just gently rocking from side to side, really allowing the upper body to hang over the legs here. And taking the hands down to the mat, just shaking the head a few times, yes and no. Releasing any tension that could be in the back of the neck. And then we're bending through the knees, walking the hands out in front, to slowly lower those knees down underneath you, right under the hips. From here, pike your hips up towards the ceiling into a pike stretch, looking in between the legs as you pedal through the feet one at a time. Really push out of the floor, moving in your own pace. And pressing both heels down together. And slowly lowering the knees down right under the hips. Good. Untuck those toes. As you inhale, open through the chest. As you exhale, look in between the legs, rounding the spine. Inhale as you open through the chest. Exhale, scoop up through the abs, looking in between the legs. Just warming up the spine here. Good, making sure you're following through with the head as well. As you inhale, open, and exhale, scooping up as high as you can, rounding the spine. Good, and let's finish that one off there. We're going to pop the feet together, knees out nice and wide, sit back onto the heels and stretch forward for a prayer stretch. Reach the hands out nice and long in front of you, taking the forehead down towards the mat. Take a few deep breaths here, enjoy this stretch back, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And let's walk the hands in towards us and just coming to a seated position, whatever you're comfortable in. We're going to do our T-zone activation. So placing the fingertips just a couple of centimeters inside the hip bones, visualize your T-zone. So the top of the T runs from hip bone to hip bone and represents our deep abdominals, and the bottom of the T from the pubic bone up to meet that line as the pelvic floor. As you breathe in through the nose, draw up along that vertical line, engaging through your pelvic floor. And as you exhale, imagine those hip bones sliding in towards the center, aiming to tighten under the fingertips. So this is just a reminder that we can practice our T-zone activation in any position. So you can even do this sitting at your desk or standing whilst you're working anytime throughout the day. Have a couple more practices. And just remembering during the exercises, we're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. All right, it's time to get started. So we'll grab our band and we'll pop it around the legs, just above the knees. And just remembering, if you don't have a band, that's okay. Just follow along without one. So we're coming onto our hands and knees, popping the wrists right under the shoulders. We're going to start with the left leg. So pop the right leg into the center and then flex through that left foot. Lifting through the abs, T-zone tight. As you exhale, squeeze that left glute, and lift that leg up to hip height or as high as you can without arching through your lower back. So exhale, squeeze and lift, and inhale to lower. Really focus on squeezing the glute to lift the leg. We want to make sure that this movement is coming from the glute and not from the lower back. Keep flexing through that left foot and keep the knee bent for this one. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Inhale as you bring the knee back in. Good, just a couple more here. Keep lifting through the abs. Good, and on that next one up, we're going to hold the leg up at hip height and start little pulses from the glute. So make sure we're squeezing that top glute, tiny little movements here, up and down, just for 3, 2, 1, and then bringing that leg back in. Nice work. Similar to before, we're going to exhale, squeeze and lift the leg now, but this time extending through the knee. So the foot is going straight behind us rather than up in the air. And we're aiming to get a nice straight leg, flexing that foot. If this is too much with your band, remember you always have the option of taking the band off and doing it without one. Good, so just lifting as high as you can without the hips rotating or dipping to one side. And on the next one up, we're going to hold and start those little pulses, this time with a straight leg. Up and down, squeezing that top glute and bringing it in. Nice work. We're going to come down on to the elbow of our right hand now and then box that left hand out to the side. Extending that leg back in line with the hip, nice pointed toes this time. As you inhale, cross the toe over the supporting leg. As you exhale, lift and tap over to the opposite side. So I'm using the corners of my mat as a guide here. So if you have a yoga or Pilates mat, you can do that. Otherwise, it's just taking it slightly out to each side at about a 45-degree angle. Inhale, lift and tap across. Exhale, lift and tap down on the same side. Good. Squeezing that glute to lift the leg and aiming to keep that nice straight leg, pointed toes. And let's finish that one off there. Nice work. We're going to swap sides and do this all on the right leg. So setting up again, making sure your wrists are under shoulders, lifted through the abs and flexing through that right foot now. As you exhale, squeeze and lift the leg up to hip height. As you inhale, bring the knee back in, keeping that right foot nice and flexed. And remembering just to lift as high as you can without arching through the lower back. Making sure we're really squeezing that glute to lift the leg and lifting out of the floor. So make sure you're really pushing out of the floor with the hands and that we're not sinking into the shoulders. Good. And on the next one up, we're holding that leg up as high as we can and little pulses up and down. Squeeze that top glute. Tiny little movements here. Keep that foot flexed. Good. And bringing the knee in. Nice work. Moving into our straight leg extends. Inhale, draw it in. Exhale, extend it out. Keeping that foot flexed. Aiming to get that leg up as high as you can without dipping the hips or without arching through the lower back. Keep lifting through the abs, T-zone nice and tight here. And on our next one up, we're going to hold it there and little pulses up and down. Nice straight knee, keep that foot flexed. Good, just for 3, 2, 1, and bring that knee back in. Nice work. Take that left elbow down, box out the right hand now. Extend that right leg back behind you. We inhale, tap across, and we exhale, tap on the same side. Using the corners of your mat as a guide. Inhale, lift and tap across. exhale, lift, tap on the same side. Good, just a couple more, finish it off strong. Keep squeezing that glute. Good, and let's finish it off there. Well done, nice work. That's a tough little series. We're going to make our way to standing for some squats next. So come up to standing, we're going to keep the band around the legs. And just taking the feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, with the toes pointing slightly outwards. As we inhale, we're going to lower down into a squat. And as we exhale, we're going to squeeze the glutes and lift back to standing. So find your position a little bit wider than hip distance with the legs, toes pointing slightly outwards. As you inhale, send the hips back, bring the arms in front of you. As you exhale, squeeze through the glutes and lift up nice and tall to standing. So it's an inhale squat, it's an exhale lift. Making sure the knees are tracking over the toes so that we're not bringing them in towards each other. Good, just a few more here. Our glute should be nice and warm from our horse kick series on our hands and knees. Focus on keeping your chest open as you come down. T-zones tight. Let's take our hands behind the head now. Come nice and low. We're pulsing it up and down. Good, just for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming up to standing. Nice work. Bringing the legs hip distance apart now. We are going to bend the knees slightly, pop the hands on the hips and take a slight hinge forward at the hips. So stick that butt out a little bit. From here, we're moving into some crab walks. If you prefer, you can pop the hands out in front if that feels more comfortable to you. So for our crab walks, we take one step at a time and we're trying to keep the band tight the whole time. When you get to the end of your mat, do 2 little movements out with the knees and back in, and then go to the other direction. If you don't have a mat, just do a few to each side, then take your 2 presses out on the band. I've just adjusted my band because it had slid up a little bit too high. So if you need to, pop that band just a little bit lower so you can feel that resistance as you take the knees out. Good, so aim to keep sticking that butt out, squeezing the glutes with every step and making sure the knees are tracking over the toes as you step in each direction. Good, just a few more here. Keep those shoulders down and back, chest open and T-zones tight at the front. The knees out is just a slight press out on the band. It doesn't have to go too far. Good, and we're going to finish it off there. Bring that band up a little bit higher now. Take those feet out a little bit wider, toes pointing outwards. We've got our low pulses one more time with the hands behind the head. So let's come down low into our squat and then we're pulsing up and down. Make sure your knees are tracking over your toes. Good, keep the chest open, elbows wide. Just for another 3, 2, 1, and then up to standing. Nice work. We're going to take away the band now, so you can just pop that next to the mat somewhere. For this next one, we're going to test our balance a little bit. So we're going to take a pulse in the center, and then we're shifting our weight to one leg to balance. So it's a pulse and a balance. As you pulse it low, you can bring those arms out in front. And I like to take my hands out to the side as I balance, just to help with those wobbles. So think about engaging through the core, especially as you're coming up onto one leg. And to make it a little bit harder now, try a double pulse in between each balance. Try and lift that knee up right out in front of you. And think about lifting through the crown of the head, standing up nice and tall, shoulders down and back. Good, just a couple more here. Keep that T-zone tight and let's relax. and give those legs a little bit of a shake out. We're moving on to some upper body work now. So we're going to do 5 arm exercises, one after the other, each one for 30 seconds in length. So follow along with me. For the first one, we're bringing the arms out in front, palms facing down with a slight bend at the elbows. We're just going to be lifting the hands above the head and then taking them back down in front. So I'll just show you what that looks like now, just up and down. So the timer is going to start in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Overhead and out in front. And you can move quite quickly through this. We don't have to be slow. We just want to think about keeping those shoulders down as we take the arms overhead. And just breathing naturally as we go in through the nose, out through the mouth. Standing up nice and tall, creating that resistance with our body as we move a little bit faster. Good, just 3 seconds here. And then bringing the hands out in front of the chest. We open and bend. Good, keep those arms lifted. And start to pick up that pace here. So bringing the hands into the chest and then opening out nice and wide. Keep those shoulders down and back. 10 seconds with this one. Good. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Taking the arms out, palms facing down. We're just flipping the hands forward and back, keeping those elbows nice and straight. So up towards the ceiling, then down towards the ground. Try and keep your arms nice and straight. And get some momentum going with this one to make it feel a little less awkward. You want that pace. Good, last 3. And palms facing down, we're going little circles. Keep those elbows nice and straight. We're going to do 15 seconds one way and then we'll reverse and do the other way. Good, keep the palms facing down and let's swap directions. Last 15 seconds. Keep those shoulders down, standing up nice and tall. And last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one here, bending the elbows, bringing the elbows down towards our sides and then the hands up overhead. So keep that bend in the elbows the whole time. Think about squeezing in between those shoulders as you bring the elbows down by your side. Good. And last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax those arms. Give those shoulders a bit of a shrug. Well done. We're going to come to the end of our mat now, feet hip distance apart. And we're just going to take a roll down stretch like we did at the beginning. Hands towards the mat, then bend through the knees and walk out into a plank position, wrists right under the shoulders, feet hip distance apart. Good, just holding this plank here, lifting through the abs, eyes looking in between the hands. And lowering those knees back down. Nice work. Our next exercise is called crouching tigers. So we're going to pop heels together, toes out wide, and hands right under the shoulders. What we do is we inhale and push back, bending the knees, and exhale, come forward into a plank. So as we inhale, we send the hips back, bend the knees, and exhale, we come forward into a plank. So we've got heels together and toes out wide. So as we bend back, the knees are opening out. Don't stress about trying to get the heels to touch. We're just aiming to have that turn out. Inhale back, exhale forward. Just a couple more here. And turning into the oblique version of this, we want to twist to one side. So dip one hip down, rotate the feet. And as you inhale, push back, and exhale, push forward, we want to keep the side twist so that we really feel it into our bottom side oblique. Good, just a few more here. It's an inhale, push back, and it's an exhale, push forward. Good, and let's swap to the other side. So rotate to the other side, dip the opposite hip down. Good, trying to keep that side twist as we push back and come forward. Just a few more, keep holding strong, keep lifting through those abs, coming to the center and gently pop those knees down. Good work. Let's take a prayer stretch, feet together, knees out wide and reaching the arms forward. Take a deep breath. And slowly coming back to sitting. We are going to try one more variation of the crouching tigers. So this time keeping the feet hip distance apart, parallel. As we inhale, we crouch back. As we exhale, we pike the hips up. And then we come forward into a plank. We want those wrists right under the shoulders. So we inhale, crouch back. Exhale, pike those hips. And lower forward into the plank. So flowing through this movement at your own pace. Inhale, crouch back, look in between the legs. And then use your exhale to pike and flow forward into a plank position. Keeping those feet parallel, hip distance apart. Good. On your next one down, we're going to hold that plank position. So find your plank. Think about lifting through the abs, pushing out of the floor. Just here for another 3, 2, 1. Gently take those knees down underneath you. Nice work. Let's stretch those wrists out the other way. Take a deep breath. And then we're going to finish off this workout with some abs. So coming to sitting at the end of your mat, feet hip distance apart, reach those arms out in front and slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time to come down onto the mat. Take your arms by your side and then bring the legs up one at a time to tabletop, imprinted spine, starting with some toe taps. As you exhale, tap the toe towards the mat. As you inhale, bring it back. Keep those legs hip distance apart to make it harder. Tap further away from the body. Or to make it easier, tap in nice and close. But focus on keeping the spine imprinted, making sure the back isn't arching. From here, we're taking the hands behind the head and adding an ab curl to our toe taps. So as you tap, curling the upper body up. As you bring it back up, lowering the body down. Good. So coordinating those arms and legs together. We exhale, curl up, tap the toe together, and inhale, lower, bring the toe back up. Just a couple more here. Keep using your breath to help you. Elbows nice and wide. Good. Squeezing those legs together now, moving straight into pendulum. Make sure those arms are out to the side, palms facing up. As you inhale, lower the legs to one side. As you exhale, bring them back to the center. Making sure that we're keeping that imprinted spine as we move from side to side. Keeping both shoulders on the mat at all times and squeezing the legs together. Good. Keep breathing through it. Inhale to lower and exhale to lift. Nice work. Finishing off that last one here. And then we're going to take the hands behind the head, elbows nice and wide, and just separate the legs so they're hip distance apart. Curl up into your ab curl and hold. As you exhale, extend one leg long. As you inhale, bring it back in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bring it back. Making sure we're only extending as low as we can without arching through the lower back. Keeping the chin tucked in, eyes looking forward. Keep scooping up into that ab curl. Good. Last 10, we switch it up a little bit faster. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relaxing back down. Nice work. Hug those knees into the chest. Doing really well. We've just got a couple of exercises to go. Moving into a double toe tap now. As you inhale, tap both toes towards the floor. As you exhale, lift back up. So making sure we're squeezing the legs together. We inhale to tap and we exhale to lift. Keeping those arms nice and relaxed, shoulders down and back. And only lowering the legs as far as you can without arching through the lower back. So we really want to focus on that imprinted spine. Good. Keep using your breath, that exhale breath, to help you bring those legs back up. And let's hug the knees to the chest. Good work, guys. We're going to come up to sitting for the last exercise before we stretch it out. So just sitting at the end of your mat, knees together, feet together. We'll be rocking back, taking the knees overhead and then controlling forward to find our half V. So we take the knees overhead as we rock back. We control coming forward and find our balance. So make sure you're using your arms to help you as you rock back. You're squeezing the legs together and you're continually scooping through those abs. So make sure that we're not letting go of our T-zone connection and using that momentum, but also controlling so that we can find that balanced position. Good, and let's do one last one here, and then we're going to hold that balanced position. Keep those knees bent, so legs in tabletop, squeezing the inner thighs together, reaching through the fingertips. Good, and relaxing back down. Nice work. That brings us to the end of our hard work. So we're going to take feet together, knees out wide for a butterfly stretch. Sit up nice and tall and then exhale, fold forward over the legs. To increase the stretch, you can reach those arms out in front. Just taking a few deep breaths here. Reaching forward through the fingertips. And slowly start to walk those hands back in. Sit up nice and tall. And we're going to come to a cross-legged position next. So just sitting cross-legged. Take a deep breath in and reach one arm over to the other side. Stretching down the side of the body and then repeat to the other side. Deep breath in to lift. Exhale, take it over. And coming back to sitting. Bringing the hands out in front, walk them forward, take the forehead down towards the mat. Taking a few deep breaths to finish here. And then we'll slowly bring ourselves back to sitting, just walking those hands back towards the body and coming up to sitting nice and tall. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's workout. I will see you next time.